So the first thing that I did, I built an MVP to do product discovery. So it took me 6 to 8 weeks. And with this MVP, I validated the idea. I talked to a bunch of founders, SaaS companies, and I got a lot of, oh my God, that's so cool. I would love to use it. So once the idea was validated and I found a design partner, we went out and we raised money. And when we closed our first round, we hired the team. We threw away the MVP, so we did a second one. My name is Juan Barroso. I'm CTO and co-founder at Salsa.
This is Code Story, a podcast bringing you interviews with tech visionaries.
Spent 6 months moonlighting.
There's nothing at the back end.
Who share what it takes to change an industry.
I don't exactly know what to
took
do next.
many goes to get right.
Who built the teams that have their back.
Company is its people.
The teams help each other achieve. Most proud of our team.
Keeping scalability top of mind.
All that infrastructure was a
Yes,
pain.
we've been fighting it as we grow.
Total waste of time.
The stories you don't read in the headlines.
It's not an easy thing to achieve, mind
Took it
you.
off the shelf and dusted it off and tried it again.
To ride the ups and downs of the startup life.
You need to really
It's
want it.
not just about technology.
All this and more on Code Story. I'm your host, Noah Lappart, and today Juan Barroso is helping you launch your payroll product faster to help you grow revenue without the engineering hassle. Juan Barroso lives in the Bay Area but was born in Venezuela. He didn't grow up with technology around him as his father was a farmer and his mother was a seamstress. Neither went to university, but they made sure to push Juan to attend university and focus hard on his studies. It was during university that he fell in love with programming. But outside of tech, he likes to try new things and doesn't stick with one hobby for too long, other than traveling. Juan has been in payroll for many years, and during his tenure, he got the opportunity to build many engines and solutions for the industry. He realized that though one engine worked for one customer, others wouldn't be happy with that solution. He wondered if a payroll framework could be built to allow developers to build their own. This is a creation story of Salsa.
At Salsa, we build payroll infrastructure to make it easy for developers to build their own payroll products. So what we do is we serve software platform that has thousands of businesses that already rely on this platform, and we help this platform to build their own payroll product. When they build their own payroll product, they can sell this to their customers. We have a clear view. Today, every business is running on a software platform, and we believe that this platform will be the place where the employer will pay their workers. So to do this, what we offer are APIs, web components, and different building blocks to make possible building a payroll product without having to spend years or millions of dollars. I started working in payroll more than 10 years ago, and I started building a multi-country enterprise payroll engine. At that time, we helped multinational companies to have a single product to manage and pay their workforce. This company was acquired by Intuit later on, and I shifted gears into the small business payroll. And during this time, I was lucky to get to build a bunch of different payroll engines and really see what was scaling and what was working really. It was very frustrating because at QuickBooks, we did horizontal payroll solution. There was always somebody that was not really happy because the solution was not built for them. So at that moment, as an engineer, I had this aha moment. What if we build payroll infrastructure and let developers build experience on top of these APIs and components? So everybody can get like a tailored payroll product that really serves their needs. And that's how everything started.
Let's dive into the MVP then, so that first version of the product you built. How long did it take to build, and what sort of tools did you use to bring it to life?
When I started Salsa, there was like a new category. It didn't exist. So the first thing that I did, I built an MVP to do product discovery. I used Kotlin, Spring Framework, and I wanted to use GraphQL APIs because I think they're very easy to demo and to show the functionality. So I picked DGS, which is a framework maintained by Netflix to expose GraphQL APIs. So it took me 6 to 8 weeks. And with this MVP, I validated the idea. I talked to a bunch of founders, SaaS companies, and I got a lot of, oh my God, that's so cool. I would love to use it. So once the idea was validated and I found a design partner, we went out and we raised money. And when we closed our first round, we hired the team. We threw away the MVP, so we did a second one. One of the interesting things about payroll is that the MVP is really hard because payroll is a function made of thousands of different use cases. And when you miss a few of them, it may make it impossible to pay a worker. It was a bit hard, but we worked really hard. In 5-6 months, we were actually running our first paycheck, paying the first worker in the platform. And we basically leveraged the knowledge that I have from the first MVP. We stick with the tooling that the team was more proficient, which was we leverage AWS. On top of that, we use Kotlin and Spring as our framework. And then we end using DGS as our GraphQL layer because it's very light, very easy to use. And then on top of that, we leverage React for our components and our internal tooling.
So with any MVP, you got to make certain decisions and trade-offs, right? Around, feature cut, technological choice, which I hear you alluding to, or, acceptance and feature limitation. Tell me about some of those that you had to make in the MVP in the early days and how you coped with those decisions.
One of the first things that we decided very early on is that we will focus on the customer-facing APIs and experience. And what it means is that there was a lot of manual work in the back office. When we launched, most of our tax operations were manual. We didn't have tooling in the backend. We had a bunch of Notion tables where we track the to-dos that the platform have to do in the backend to be compliant. So it was painful as an engineer to see all that manual work, but I think it paid off. It allowed us to focus on one thing, do that very well, and then eventually we came back to those.
So you've got your MVP, it's working, you've made those hard decisions, you've worked through it, and now you're getting some traction. How did you progress the product and mature it from that point? And I think to wrap in a box a little bit, what I'm looking for is how you went about building your roadmap and what criteria you were using to decide, okay, this is the next most important thing to build or to address with Salsa.
We know payroll so well that it was really hard to pick the right priorities. We wanted to build everything. We have so many good ideas, but we have to find a way to stagger them and pick which one will be working first. What we're actually still doing today is we do planning per quarter. Every quarter we try to focus on what we call a few big boulders. Big boulders are big features, big foundational things that will enable a set of new use cases. And then we keep some time, some space for iterating on existing features. So we look into these two buckets, and every quarter we try to make investment on this. And then we really use two things to help us make decisions. Our sales conversation help us to pick what are the big boulders, what are the things that the market needs the more. And existing customers give us a lot of feedback around what are the existing features that need to improve, what are the next improvement that we can make on those. And that's how we work every quarter to try to get the best that we can to make customer happy.
So I hear you saying we. Tell me about how you built your team. And what do you look for in those people to indicate that they are the winning horses to join you?
I mentioned that I was in payroll for over 10 years. And the reality is like when I knew that Salsa had to be built, I knew who was the right team too. I've been working with these people for many years. We spent so many afternoon nights drinking beers and chatting and reimagining what a new modern payroll infrastructure would look like, that I knew that building Salsa had to be with these people. As soon as I raised our money, I went back and I tried to get those people. I remember that I had a spreadsheet with some faces that I thought were the first people that would be perfect to kick off Salsa. And later on, when I look back, like 90% of those faces are actually in the team, which is very exciting. So yeah, I definitely knew a team with a lot of experience, domain expertise, and a lot of passion that will be the winning horses.
Let's flip to scalability. And this will be interesting given the importance and kind of the cornerstone infrastructure of what you've built. Did you build this to scale efficiently from day one, or, at least with scale in mind, or have you been fighting this as you grow in any sort of capacity?
We know that once you build a payroll engine or some parts of this, it's really hard to scale. So I like to think on scalability in two different dimensions. One is the product, having the abstraction that you need to grow into new use cases, to grow into more traffic and more transactions. And the other part is a pure scalability from the transactional perspective, the cloud. So we have been very careful with the abstraction, building in a way that we know that we're going to be able to support more use cases, new countries. And then in the other side, we are leveraging AWS. And we know what are the areas we're going to be scaling when. My general rule of thumb is I like to be one order of magnitude ahead of what we have today. I always building scalability as we go, always going ahead of where we are today in terms of traffic, customer, and usage. So I guess the answer there is a bit of both. In some areas, we have been very explicit on building with the scalability in mind. In other, we have been scaling as we build.
So, Juan, as you step out on the balcony and you look across all that you've built, what are you most proud of?
I mentioned before that I've been working with this team for a long time. So I'm very proud to be able to put together such a team, somebody like such a good team. And it's very humbling to have the opportunity to work with these people every day. And I'm very proud of the team, for sure. Probably the second thing is the product. When we started Salsa, we have this vision like we will make payroll easy to launch, easy to integrate, fast to launch. We were not quite clear what it meant at the time, but we knew that was the path. Today, we are in a place where we can launch, a customer can launch their payroll product in 4-6 weeks with one engineer, and that's very amazing. Going from zero to this was a lot of work, a lot of hypotheses, a lot of hard work, but I'm very proud that we're getting to this point when payroll is becoming easy to integrate, and payroll is something that any developer can use. Yeah, I think I'm very proud of the product too.
Let's flip the script a little bit. Tell me about a mistake you made and how you and your team responded to it.
I think that we picked the reactive architecture. We're using Java Reactive. I don't think that was a good decision. I think the maturity of the Java ecosystem using Reactive is not there. Now that we're using Kotlin, code routines are perfectly fine to scale the processing. So I think it was a mistake. And what we did was some people really got really deep, help us build some utils to reduce the pain across the team. And now we're building towards moving out of Reactive. It's a project that we're working on, and we probably will just change the technology. We felt excited to try. On paper, it looks very good, but in practice, I don't think it was a good decision. Maybe outside of the technical side, we started the company with an organic acquisition of customers. Basically, we will just be waiting for inbound. And because we have a lot of people knocking into our door that wanted to try the product, we never really put a lot of emphasis on outbound. When you do outbound, it's way easier, or you can control the quality of the customers you're getting. And that's something that we realized later on. And what we did is just switch gears and really started to be super active on outbounds and trying to get out and find our ICP, even though when we're still having people knocking our door and we still work with them, but we really become more active on finding the right customer for us.
So this will be fun. It'll be fun to hear the passion in your voice as a founder. Tell me what the future looks like for Salsa, the product, and for your team.
There is so much that we can do. There is so much potential. In general, we're very excited to start expanding to new countries. There are not many payroll infrastructure companies out there, and there is none that actually can be a multi-country. So I think we have the team to build that. So I'm very excited to go into that path. What I'm more excited about is to make payroll more flexible. And I really want to see innovators, builders, deciding what payroll should look like. I want to see payroll in a way that we never have seen. I'm very excited for the new generation of payroll applications that will change the way how workers get paid.
Okay, let's switch to you, Juan. Who influences the way that you work? Name a person or many persons or something you look up to and why.
I would probably start my first job as a software engineer. And I joined a team of really passionate engineers. I was out of college, first job, and this group introduced me to XP, practices like TDD. And with this group, I learned about Martin Fowler, Ken Beck, Uncle Bob, Robert C. Martin. And I got immersed into this world of these people that the way how they talk about software really resonated to me. The way how they talk about focusing on value, reducing waste, it felt like that was the way to build software. And that was not what I was learning during the university. So I think these people was a big inflection point, and I really appreciate that. And definitely from that, some of the people that I mentioned, I think Martin Fowler, Ken Beck, and all these people have so many good books, and I spent so many hours watching their tech talks, and I think that was a strong foundation for me that I really define how I work today.
Okay, Juan, last question. So you're getting on a plane, and you're sitting next to a young entrepreneur who's built the next big thing. They're jazzed about it. They can't wait to show it off to the world. They can't wait to show it off to you right there on the plane. What advice do you give that person, having gone down this road a bit?
In this journey, the high are very high and the low are very low. But I think you need to acknowledge that is part of the journey and really embrace the whole journey, the ups and the downs. At the end of the day, nothing is as bad as it looks like. Maybe the good are not as good, but you need to enjoy every single step along the way. That's something that I will definitely tell anyone starting the journey. There is a lot of people that tell you what to do, or you read these books where everything seems to be done in one way, in the perfect way. You get obsessed with what is the right way. Just find the way that works for you. There's different ways to be successful. There's different ways to build a product. Go out, learn from others, but find your way.
That's fantastic advice. Well, Juan, thank you for being on the show today, and thank you for telling the creation story of Salsa.
Thanks, Noah. Thanks for having me.
And this concludes another chapter of Code Story. Code Story is hosted and produced by Noah Labhart. Be sure to subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or the podcasting app of your choice. And when you get a chance, leave us a review. Both things help us out tremendously. And thanks again for listening.
If you're a podcast host, listen up, this one's for you. My name is Allie Jackson. I'm the host of Finding Mr. Height, a dating and relationship podcast that I've been doing for 4 years now, sharing my positive and practical approach to dating that's built on my own life experience. And I wanted to share another experience that I've had, my secret behind monetizing my show. It's called Red Circle, and I was just telling my colleague about how much I love their platform. With Red Circle, not only am I getting a seamless hosting experience, but I also love the support I receive in ad sales. It's not just typical ad sales either. It's targeted opportunities based on my show and my life. And the platform is super simple. You just set your preferences and Red Circle matches you with sponsors that align with your show. You can vet every opportunity and their platform gives you great analytics. More recently too, my Red Circle team has brought me opportunities outside of my podcast on social media to really augment the podcast partnerships, bring them full circle. I just can't recommend them enough. If you want to give it a try, go to redcircle.com to get your free trial. That's redcircle.com for a free trial.